Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today, we have the Byrd Harrier 2. If you guys are not familiar with Byrd, Byrd is the budget line of Spyderco and a brand that I don't think really gets enough cred. Some of their stuff, I admit, some of their FRN stuff does feel a bit cheap, but it is cheap. But some of their knives I really, really love. I really like the Raven 2. I think it's a better buy if you're looking for a Spyderco Tenacious or something like that. The Byrd Raven 2 I think is a much better knife. And I've had a few other Byrds I like. I'll bring one of them out here shortly when we get to size comparisons. I do really like a lot of their products, and it's stuff that people just kind of overlook. The Harrier 2, as the name would indicate, is the new version of the Harrier. This is G10 lockback, 8CR13 MLV steel. Wah, I know, but they do a pretty decent job with it. But still, yeah, it is just 8CR13. But very reasonably priced. You're looking at about 37 bucks for one of these. Not too bad at all. It is a very well constructed knife. Fit and finish is excellent. That's what I found in the Byrds. It's kind of weird. If you look at their FRN stuff, as I said, some of it does feel very cheap. But their G10 stuff is really, really nice. I do have to say, there's this lockback, there's no sharp edges or anything. The seams are all perfect. You know, there's no like harsh transitions or anything like that. You're getting the same spoon clip you get on any Delica or Endura or anything like that. It's a very, very, very nicely made knife, I do have to say, for the price. I have no complaints there. The only quality issue I noticed at all is on the grind. Yeah, it's on this side, right back there towards the heel of the blade. It's a bit wonky. It's not even. But other than that, the grind's pretty good. Yeah, it's a well-made knife. The screws are pretty decent quality. Can't complain. And I feel the same way, but I said I would save it for size comparisons, but I guess we'll do it a bit early. The Cara 2 that I have with the G10, also extremely well made. And part of the reason why I've had it for a very, very long time, I've never felt the need to move it on. I just like having it around. This is more the size of the Endura. So you can see, like I said, this is about the same size as the Endella. 3.3-inch blade versus a full-on 4-inch blade on the Cara 2. A different G10. They've changed that a little bit. This is kind of more common texture G10, I guess you'd say, like the kind of texture a lot of companies use. It's not very heavily textured. This has a bit more texture. It's not like a hardcore cold steel or something like that, but it does have a bit more texture to it, which I actually kind of like. We'll get to that when we get to ergonomics, but I do actually really like the texture of the G10 on this. But let's do some specs and size comparisons before we go on too much more. As I said, 37 bucks, overall length of 7.6 inches, blade length of 3.3 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.11 inches, pretty thin, and handle thickness also very thin, 0.4 inches, and a weight of 3.4 ounces. So that's about right for the blade length. You know, that it's really close to that magic 1 ounce to, you know, inch of blade length ratio, but I was kind of expecting it to be a little bit lighter, but alas, it is not. And before we're going farther too, I do want to say thank you for Smoky Mountain Knife Works for sending this on to me. I very much appreciate that. It's something that I probably would have looked at and meant to get and never gotten if it wasn't for them. So very glad they got it on to me, because it is a pretty interesting knife. And as I said, I think we should all be paying a bit more attention to Byrd. Let's do some size comparisons, since this is going to be a very Spyderco heavy size comparison thing, because it is a Spyderco product. So compared to your Paramilitary 2 and your Para 3, as you can see, it sits right between them. Unfortunately, I do not have an Endura or a Delica here to show that to you, but we will put up the Byrd, as I said, the Cara 2, just to show that again. And you know what? I have a couple more Spydercos in my pocket, so let's pull these two out just to keep the train going. This is a very Spyderco heavy video, which I guess shouldn't be that surprising because it is Spyderco. So this is what I was just carrying today. We have your Spyderco Native Chief. See, it's significantly smaller than that, and the Delica Wharncliffe, the very oily Delica Wharncliffe. Yeah, you can see it's a good, just medium EDC size knife, 3.3-inch blade. Yeah, as I said, in the Endella range. The Endella didn't really appeal to me because a lot of the VG10 FRN Spydercos, with the exception of the Dragonfly, don't really appeal to me that much, just because the price has gotten so high on them for that VG10 steel and the fancy plastic handles, where the Byrd, I think the steel is not as good, but you're getting a really good, solidly built knife now for a good price. Now, as far as this blade goes, as I said, 8CR13, and they proudly display it, that's for sure. Made in China. It works pretty good. It's not super thin behind the edge. I think I measured it like 25,000 behind the edge, which is not bad. But in this day and age, a lot of stuff is thinner. But you can see it's got a very, very tall, primary edge there. And it actually slices really, really well. I have no issues with that. Like most Spydercos in this vein, the tip is fairly dainty. You don't want to do anything too crazy with it. But it slices pretty well. And Spyderco / Byrd's 8CR is all right for 8CR. It's not any better or worse than like Kershaw's or anything like that, which are also kind of in this same sort of price range. Yeah, it's all right. I wish the steel was better. The Byrd Raven 2, I believe, is BD1. If this was BD1, I would be gushing over this knife, but it isn't. So instead, I'm just saying that I like it, instead of just gushing about it. One thing I will gush about, though, is the ergonomics on this knife are fantastic. As I said, the G10's a bit grippier, and you can choke up. Byrd always makes sure you can do that. Some lower-end Spyderco models, you can't. That's one of the things I like more about the Raven 2. This one is you can totally choke up. It's super comfortable. This G10 is the perfect amount of grippy without completely tearing your pants apart when you put it in and out of your pocket. No hot spots. Ergonomically, this thing is great. It's just a little bit bigger than a Delica. If you thought a Delica was a bit too small, this is a really good choice, a really good one to look at. Or if you really love that FRN, the Andela, which is, what, $80? It's a lot more money. But yeah, it's just, ergonomically, it's very good. And again, I know this isn't quite ergonomics, but it feels so solid. It feels like a very, very solid knife. It's one of the things I like about the Cara 2 and G10 also. They do the Cara 2 and the FRN, but I really, really, really do, or GFRN, whatever it is. But I really do like the feel of the G10 Byrds. They're very, very nice. Now, let's talk about the carry. We'll pull out the old Wranglers that I keep threatening to retire, and then I don't. I'm like the boy who cried no more Wranglers. As I said, sliding it out of the pocket, that G10 isn't going to destroy your pockets, but there is a bit of grip there, but it's not bad. But no flipper tab, no nothing like that. It's very easy to get in and out. Super easy to get your hand past. And 3.4 ounces, the weight is not bad. It's not what you'd put in a lightweight. Nobody's going to call it a lightweight, but it's not bad. Carries very, very well. No problems with that there. It's not particularly tall. And a lot of knives this is the Byrd hole. It's supposed to look like a bird beak instead of the Spyder hole, but you can see it's almost 1.5 inches tall, but it doesn't feel anywhere near that tall in the pocket. It carries really well. The pocket clip is angled very well, and it is right hand, left hand, tip up, tip down, whatever you want. And if you want to get a different pocket clip, this is the exact same one that's on all the Spyderco, Delica, Endura, Andela, all that stuff. So it's very easy to find aftermarket clips for it if you want a deep carry clip. Lanyard hole if you're into that, in the middle of the pocket clip, whatever. At least they didn't make the knife longer to put the lanyard hole on it, so I do appreciate that. Now, as far as the action goes, pretty typical of any of your Spyderco backlocks. It's not a fidget toy. It's never going to be. I've only had it for a couple of days now. It's breaking in all right, but it's just never going to be a drop shutty sort of thing. But you can close it one-handed very easily. I haven't done anything to this as far as lube it or anything. I took it apart to look at the construction a bit, but that was about it. You do have full, the full liners and all that stuff on this. It's a very robust built knife for sure. But yeah, it's all right. It's never going to be a fidget toy. Can I wrist even I'm terrible at thumb flipping. Thumb flicking. I'm also very terrible at saying it, apparently. No, I'm never going to get it like that. I got one Delica that I had that I was able to do that with, but these backlock Spydercos, they're not really flicky knives. It's just not going to be that way. but I'm okay with that. It's very secure lockback for sure. And it's okay. Just know it's not going to be like a fidget toy. So what is my conclusion with this? 37 bucks. I really like it. The 8CR, some people that's going to be a complete disqualifier, and I understand that. And some people are still going to think that $37 is too expensive. And you know, I can kind of get that when you look at the competition. What's something else I just have laying around here for 37 bucks? No, that costs more than that. Let me see here. I'm poorly prepared to not have a really good comparison standing here. I guess this is the closest I've got for, I think these are about 50. You know, you have your Honey Badger D2, nice flippy, you know, ball bearings, all that stuff. When you start looking at that, you're going to start looking at knives like this, and you're going to be like, you know, maybe not. A lot of the Chinese brands are offering stuff with better steel for less money. But then you look at like CRKT. This is a knife that's also about 50 bucks, except for when it's on sale, which it is sometimes. The Titac 2 from CRKT is still 8CR again. So fancier lock system. But yeah, it just depends on if that 8CR is a disqualifier for you. I will say I think Byrd and Spyderco's 8CR actually isn't half bad, and it is super easy to sharpen. It's one of the very easiest steels to take care of, as long as you make sure it doesn't corrode, because I know 8CR is technically a stainless, but it's barely a stainless in my experience anyway. I think I've had more 8CR get corrosion spots than I have D2. And it's everybody's, not just Byrd, not just Spyderco, you know, not just Kershaw. It's been almost all of them. I think most knives I've gotten corrosion spots on were 8CR. So, you know, keep that in mind. But yeah, it's a very well built, very solid feeling, very comfortable knife for that price. And I really like it. And I kind of see it sitting, you know, alongside just to have a matching pair of Byrds, because I only had the one Byrd before. I can kind of see keeping it for a while. It's not a bad knife at all. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Go check it out. Again, thank you to Smoky Mountain Knife Works for sending this out to me. I really appreciate it. Probably would not have gotten it otherwise. I've been Brian. Have a good one.